up, everybody? This is Rob and Nate coming back again with another episode of Pull Up and Shoot. That's our third one. Um, we ain't been here in about a week, so we just gonna catch up a little bit and talk about some of our favorite teams and some players that we're keeping an eye on. So, Nate, I'm gonna let you go ahead and open it up for us tonight.
Okay. All right. So since the last time that we actually met up, I think the Lakers went from 3-0 to 3-2.
Yep.
Um, Still looking pretty okay. Um, I saw the game against Phoenix. They actually could have won and should have won. LeBron probably played one of the worst games I've seen him play in a pretty long time, but it was still a pretty winnable game. They followed that up on the road with traveling to Cleveland, and Cleveland put it on. Um, Kind of showed that they're, just a much better team. Jared Allen had a great game against the Lakers. Wasn't able to see it, so I was anxious to see how the coverage was and how they was guarding them. But I think it probably pointed out the emphasis that they need another big. Um, they need another big body. I think that's down there, and I think that's probably why a lot of people are intrigued with Walker Kessler, because he would fill, that void, for the Lakers should they decide to make a trade to get him in there. But I think a lot of people were comparing it, just saying that, hey, between this year and last year, in 5 games, the Lakers were 3-2, which is true. Still other variables you have to look at in terms of opponents, who they played, and actually how they're looking. Just from pretty much watching all of the Lakers game, with the exception of the last one, you still could tell that they enjoyed, playing for JJ.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately they're still going to be fine. Hopefully they finish up strong with this win against Toronto, get back to 4-2. And then I think they have Detroit next, if I'm not mistaken. So, I think that's kind of favorable for them. I looked at the schedule again. I think they may have either the Raptors or Detroit, maybe again this same month or within a week or so. I'm not mistaken. So, I think they'll still be fine. I definitely feel as though a move or two does need to be made for them. But hopefully, Rob Palenka and team, they're working the phones and they're able to make something happen. But I still like what I've seen, for them. Just got to continue to get better, continue to perfect the rotations that, JJ is doing. Dalton Connect looks good. Austin Reeves looks good. So everything, looks good. They just have to make open shots and defend. But, I still like what I've seen from them so far.
A couple things. I'm looking at the schedule right now. They've got Toronto, then Detroit, Memphis, Philly, Toronto, Memphis, and San Antonio over the next 2 weeks.
Not too bad.
5 pretty winnable games, if not 6, depending on if you go home and home with the Grizzlies, which they're playing pretty good right now. So
Yeah.
but 5-2, I feel safe saying with Detroit and 2 games against Toronto, not having Scotty Barnes, that's not a recipe for success for them. I was going to ask you about. I know we've talked about the Lakers and Walker Kessler, and you sent me the thing today saying that supposedly 2 firsts and D'Angelo was put out for Kessler, and you didn't necessarily care for the idea. What
Oh no,
about
you can't do that. Can't do it.
just too much?
Way too much. Because typically, I do agree that they do need Walker Kessler. My issue is if you give up, 2 first rounders and D'Lo for Walker Kessler, you don't have anything else. You want to keep Reeves and you want to keep Rui. I think they're on to entertain parting ways with those guys if you're getting an all-star player back.
Yeah.
Now, if you can, and then you still won't have a point guard. You're not going to have a point guard if you do that. So I'm not a
between
fan.
Reeves and Braun though, you don't necessarily have to worry about somebody bringing the ball up the court. They can get the ball up the court
Yeah, yeah,
just as
that
good if
can
anybody else
happen.
can.
Yeah, that can happen, but yeah, you'll still need another starter. You'll need someone that can go into that rotation. I'm just not a fan of that particular move. You'll be giving them way too much for him, in my opinion, with that one.
Okay. What about somebody like Christian Wood? I know he had his surgery and it says he was out about 8 weeks, which we're on almost about 7 weeks now. I know it'll take him a couple weeks to get ramped up, but you could be looking at having Christian Wood back by Thanksgiving. Uh, I know he's not the physical body, the rebounder, the shot blocker that Walker Kessler is, but he is a big body that can play on the second unit. What's your take on him as compared to having to give up what that proposed offer was for Kessler?
I guess it just depends on what we're going to get from him. Since I think initially, I think I was pretty excited when we found out that he was coming to Lakerland and we were going to get him. A lot of injuries from him. Even before this season started, I know he made the statement that, "Hey, I'm back," and so on and so forth. Like he was getting ready for the season. I'm like, okay, I'm ready for this. And shortly after that, I found out he's not going to start the season. So I feel as though we kind of still need a shot blocker. I would prefer Kessler, but I give Christian Wood a chance to kind of see what he will be able to accomplish in the jersey. Um, Still want to see Vando back, which is our best versatile defender. I think they stated that he was about a week or so, maybe away, so he may be coming back pretty soon. But yeah, I just got to see what Christian Wood is going to give me when he suits up.
So I'm looking at this now. Vanderbilt just got posted, or JJ said that he's about another week out. I don't know if he had a setback or just giving him a little extra time. So you still a minimum week away from him coming back to. And he. I forgot about him. I think he fits the mold of what y'all need at least for now. And worst case scenario is if you could include him in a trade for Kessler or something like that. I think that would be an upgrade, but not a. You wouldn't wipe all your assets out at the same time because D'Lo is going to be needed if y'all are going to make a big splash for somebody with the big money because of his contract.
Mm-hmm. It's very tradable. He has a very, very tradable contract. So I definitely feel as though that's possible. And you want to keep Vando because he's our best defender. I mean, you got to have someone that you can be versatile, a versatile defender, can switch, and also can guard multiple positions. So that's definitely him.
I got on Fanspo and was looking at things, and it was a proposed trade that had D'Lo in it, but it has D'Lo going to New Orleans, which I don't quite understand why New Orleans would, or sorry, Utah would be involved and try to add Brandon Ingram.
So Utah would get Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, this is I don't
So
know.
I'm assuming we would probably get DeJounte.
No. Okay, this is a full deal. All right, let me look at it again. The Jazz would get Brandon Ingram, Dalton Connect, and Hood Shafino with a few first round picks. The Pelicans would get D'Lo, Rui Hachimura, Christian Wood, and Kessler. And the Lakers would get Gary Trent, Colin Sexton, a first round pick in 2030, and Laurie Markkinen.
Okay, so we'll get Gary Trent Jr., Laurie
Mm-hmm.
Markkinen, and who else?
Sexton. There's your point guard right there.
Yeah.
And then you add your Laurie's pretty good defender. He's going to shoot it too. So you add. I think it may be a little too much right there for y'all to give up for Laurie and not get Kessler at the same time.
Yeah.
Because
So
you're talking losing Connect, Wood, Rui, and D'Lo with 3 first round picks going out.
yeah,
And then
I'm not too crazy about it. Because I mean, I'm not so sure that you need the biggest overhaul right now of the roster. You don't want to deplete it. So yeah, I wouldn't want to give up too much, and I think they're going to be patient. I don't think they're looking for a big splash. It just has to be the right fit. So
Right.
no trade is better than a bad trade for sure.
Uh, I actually got on here to try to look at D'Angelo's contract because I forgot exactly what it was, but
Yeah, I want to say it was. I know he. I think he signed. I think maybe 2 years. But I think it'll be an expiring deal though. So it'll be if they trade him, I think it'll be something to be coming off the books. I think soon, if I'm not mistaken.
it says, see, 24-25, he opted in at 18-6, 18-7. So I guess that's it, huh?
Yeah, that's why I said it's basically an expiring, deal for the most part, which is kind of people didn't really expect him to opt in because he had, I think, last season was his best season in the NBA, if I'm not mistaken. I think if not his best, it may have came second to that year he had in Brooklyn when I think he made an All-Star game. Um, but he had a pretty good season. I think a lot of people felt that him opting in would help the Lakers, but it probably wouldn't be necessarily the best thing for him. Just from they felt that he probably could get, a 3 or 4 year deal elsewhere. So I'm not sure if it was a market, if the market really wasn't there for him, but I thought that he probably was going to opt out so that he'll be a free agent. But that would have that would have hurt us because you can't trade him, and we wouldn't have the money to sign anyone to replace him. So him opting in definitely helped the Lakers.
Yeah, I wonder if part of his opt-in was the optics of how his season ended last year with him on the bench eating or texting or whatever he's doing. I can't even remember when that wasn't that D'Lo that did that.
Yeah, it was something, and I think he didn't look as engaged. I think at some point during a huddle or something, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, you never know. That could play a part. So that's the thing. With him, it's just tricky because he's good, but I feel that there is better value on the market for a better point guard that could fit the need better. I thought that we could have possibly gotten Trey Young before the season started. Um, Especially when they had, him and DeJounte, you're like, okay, they're not going to keep both of them.
Right.
But when they traded DeJounte, I'm like, okay, they're definitely not going to trade Trey as well. So I
I
think we
think
kind of missed out.
I think Trey's pretty much locked in Atlanta. If the only reason being is that they basically gave up Luca to get him,
Yep,
so
yep,
they have
I can
to
see
they
it.
have to make that work. Otherwise, that's a complete and utter failure.
Yep, and that's probably what it'll be. He'll probably be there. So anxious to see how it plays out, man. I'm pretty sure phones gonna start ringing in a little while. Going to be a lot of different storylines to unpack, but I think that they may be. I think they have a move or two in them for sure. They're definitely going to make some.
Some teams will start early and they'll panic and make the jump early, and some teams that's required, and some teams that's not. Um, Looks like the Lakers are on the right path to heading to a 4-2 with this game. 37-14, is that where we're at?
Yeah, that's the way it's looking, man. That's the way it's looking. They're looking pretty good. So hopefully it'll be because I kind of I want to see Connect. I want to be able just to actually just watch him get some good minutes.
Right.
Playing with the starters and then also not playing with them, just kind of run it through him for a few possessions. So I think that we'll probably get there.
Yeah, he's on the court now with D'Angelo and LeBron, so this should be a little bit of a show for you.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right. So we're talking about people. and teams jumping out, trying to catch the trade wins, whatever. I know there's a lot of talk about Giannis right now. Um, and I know we talked all day today about different trade scenarios and whatever else. Do you think it's actually a chance Giannis gets moved out of Milwaukee?
It's possible, man. And it makes you wonder. They fired, I think David Griffin, and he was actually had a winning record at the time because pretty much Doc, when Doc got the job, Doc was able to move right into coaching All Star East team.
Yeah.
Um, and record wise, since Doc has been there, it just hasn't been looking too good for him. I mean, the Milwaukee Bucks are 1-4. Had Dame for a full training camp. And really thought that they would be on the right path somewhere. So I mean, 1-4, the 14th seed right now in the Eastern Conference. If this continues, because we know Giannis, in terms of his winning mentality and the way that he thinks, I think he is hungry for more postseason success. If they've lost 4 games straight. If this continues, I mean, multiple things can happen. I mean, I think the first thing that would happen is Doc would probably be without a job again. That would probably be the first thing, and you would have to just kind of wonder what would happen after that. If they miss the playoffs, yeah, it is likely going to happen, in the off season. Now, I don't think that there's any likelihood that he would get traded during the actual season. I don't see it. But yeah, if they miss the playoffs, they're going to have a new coach, and it's very possible that he could be wearing another jersey next year as well.
Do you know what Adrian Griffin's record was with Milwaukee last year, off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head. I know it was pretty good. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 31-16 or something. I'm just guessing.
I mentioned it to some other people today, and I thought it was 30-18. I was pretty sure 30 wins was where he was at. He was 30-13 last year and got fired. 30-13. That's almost a 700 win percentage.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
698 win percentage. Like, that may be one of the worst hire jobs. Yeah, like, that's comparable with the Lakers trying to think Darvin Ham could actually coach the team. I'm not going to say Darvin Ham.
I think the Bucks a little bit because you have to look at it. You got to just look at it from a lot of different angles. If you look at the leadership, of their franchise, you traded Drew Holiday away. You trade him for Dame. So you're like, okay, you really didn't want to get rid of him, but you're getting Dame back.
Right.
Probably if they could predict the future, if they knew that Drew Holiday would eventually be wearing a Celtics jersey, I don't think they make that trade. But when you trade someone and they're bought out, they could end up anywhere. But if they could do that all over again, it probably would have been done differently. So you did that, which was, I'm not sure if that made a whole bunch of sense. And you follow that up with the firing of David Griffin. So you're looking at back to back, like, man, from an ownership standpoint, both of those decisions back to back is not looking too good right now. We don't know what's going on with Chris Middleton. So that's one of those things, but I don't think they're looking very good right now. They're not playing well as a team. So I'm really not sure what's going to happen there. But it's interesting, man. If they keep losing, you definitely have to keep your eye on Giannis. But I just don't think it would happen this particular season. But this off season, if they miss the playoffs, I think it's very possible.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, Chris Middleton was the next person I wanted to bring up because, man, he's 33. It seems like he's been hurt for the last 5 years. It's what it feels like. I can't guarantee that, but it's just what it feels like. And when you're needing him to be the third guy and he's not there, I don't think there's any chance that anybody would take him on in a trade to keep
Their
Giannis'
contract.
name and add a third, another third piece or whatever. I don't know. I know I worked up a bunch of projected trades today, obviously for the Thunder because that's what I do is just work up random stupid trades. But I know we talked there was the information to come out about possibly Golden State going after him. Then you sent me the thing about the Thunder, which yes, I want them to go after him, but at the same time, like we talked about, it's not necessarily a need. Giannis is always a need, but as far as a team, we would have to break down J Dub. You'd have to send out Dort. You'd have to send out all these guys that are crucial to the style that the Thunder play right now, and not necessarily not fitting the mold. But Giannis doesn't do that. He's not going to get down and defend like Dub. He's not going to get down and defend like Dort. I watched I went to the Spurs game the other night, and at multiple times throughout the game, you had Dort on Wemby, you had Caruso on Wemby, and they held Wemby to 6 points the entire game. I know he got banged up a little bit, went to the locker room for a few minutes, came back. He didn't play a ton. The game was really never in question, but the fact that he had 6'3" Lou Dort and 6'5" Caruso on him at mid post or elbow area, and he couldn't do anything with it. Their hands were all over him. They were like swiping at the ball. Man, they deflected so many passes. Had 18 steals the other night. Again, Giannis would be amazing beside Shea and Chet, but I don't think it's necessary that we get a game changer like that. I think we need more of the big man presence. I know we got Hartenstein who's out right now, and Jay Will is out. He had a setback, so he's out another month or so. And realistically, that's when San Antonio scored their buckets the other night, was when Chet wasn't in the game. We had nobody. Usman Jang, he's 6'10", but he's not a post defender, so they got to the basket kind of at will, and that's when they scored a chunk of their points. Was without our bigs in the game. And I don't know if Giannis would help that scenario either, because he's obviously not going to come off the bench, and he's not going to rim protect in most cases.
Yeah, he's pretty much because he could rotate over and get, and I think also for that to happen, there would have to be another postseason failure. I think for you all to even consider that, that's the reason. I don't think he gets traded this offseason. I mean, I don't think he gets traded during the season anyway. If he was to get traded, I think it would be an off-season move. I would think so. But I mean, you never know. You never know if they continue to go this route, because you can just look at it. Giannis, how some guys would sit somewhere, have a few losing seasons. And I think if Giannis misses the playoffs, I think Giannis going, hey man, I gotta get me out of here. You know, because he wants to win. I mean, he's not someone that's going to take the moment, I think, for granted at all. So I think it is possible that he could be wearing another jersey. I just don't think you all pretty much go for that unless you're beat pretty much in a way in the playoffs, and then the way that you're beat just kind of brings a dollar sign in everyone's head of like a light bulb just goes off. But hey, Giannis could fix this. Giannis could fix that. Of course, you all have the assets. I just don't think that there would be a trade that you all would be interested in making.
Yeah, if I had to guess, Sam Presti's not gotta make a big splash like that. But hey, you know what? I've seen crazier things happen.
It's true.
We got Portland tonight, which they're playing better. 2-3, I guess that's better. They beat the Clippers the other night, which I enjoy because the more the Clippers lose, the better chance we got of that draft pick that I was talking about last time.
Yeah.
We got a nice little stretch coming up here. We got Portland tonight, and then we've got going to LA for the Clippers on a back-to-back. Monday against Orlando here, which 24 hours ago I'd have said that would have been a good matchup with that Paolo Banchero. I don't know that they can score in bunches like against our defense. Then you've got to go back to Denver, then Houston, then Golden State. That's a nice little 3-game stretch right there, especially after Draymond said that he basically thought the Thunder was soft because all they do is get broed up and all that. So
He did say that, huh? You think he's going to eat those words?
Yeah, I mean, I know he's not going to go out there and outscore anybody because that's not his game. Never has been really. I'm curious to see how Chet takes it, whether he takes it kind of personally, or J Dub, since he's the one barking and roughing everywhere that was talked about, and if Chet can go out there and be physical back to Draymond and prove that he's not soft and it's not all the bromance and whatever, I think that'll be enough. We should beat them without Steph, but I'm curious to see how Chet and J Dub how they attack the rim and if they get more physical with Draymond.
Yeah, and I think I'm anxious to see because I think there's going to be some possessions when he may be on Chet.
He's almost going to have to. I don't. Was it Tracy Davis Jackson or Jackson Davis? Can he get out and guard on the perimeter? I don't know if he can or not. I've never really watched him.
Yeah, I'm not really sure from that standpoint. But yeah, I would love to see if he's able to have any impact on Chet. Because one interesting thing that he said is that during the offseason, he just stated that there was a lot of Wemby and Chet talk from a defensive standpoint. But he just was like, he thinks people have forgotten about him from being a elite defender. And he said that kind of what motivates him. The fact that his name wasn't being mentioned in terms of, I guess, everyone that's kind of talking about sports and everything from a defensive standpoint, it was just Chet, and Wemby. So that'll definitely be an opportunity for him to showcase his defensive capabilities for anyone who may have forgotten. So
Yeah.
I would love to see what type of job he's able to do on Chet.
I could see him getting a technical foul. I could see him kind of wanting to put the fear of God and somebody early in the game as that intimidation factor. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time he's ever done it, so I could see him doing it again, just to see how the opposition reacts. If you think somebody's soft and you get in their head like that, how do they come back at you?
Yeah. That's true. And then, in terms of the physicality standpoint, like how physical, can he get with Chet and how physical can Chet actually, get with him?
Yeah.
So I'll be anxious to kind of see how the refs will call it and then just how much defense they will pretty much let Draymond, play on him. So pretty anxious to see how that's going to plan out.
All right. Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Thunder. We hadn't really zoned in on either of our teams, the Lakers or the Thunder. Something I kind of wanted to go over and a little bit of the honest trade talk. My guy Cam Thomas he's getting buckets tonight.
Oh, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I took him on. What he doing?
They're up 17. About 4.5 left in the second quarter. He got 15 and 2 right now.
Okay. Yeah, he may go over tonight.
You took rebounds or assists?
No, I took PRA under.
He's got no rebounds and only 2 assists. You may be okay unless he scores 30.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
I mean, he shoots
he
and
could very
he
well
shoots a
get
lot.
there. Yeah, he could definitely get there. I mean, he's 6 for 10. Right now he made 2 threes, so yeah, he could definitely get that 100%. Zach LaVine doing a little. So I'm gonna need him to get some rebounds though.
You got some picks coming up for the late games tonight. I know you do a lot more of the player props than I do.
Yeah, man. Let me see who. Now I'm anxious to see. I think a good matchup. And I'm probably gonna watch this game. Denver and Minnesota.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think Joker is probably going to have an amazing game. Anxious to see that. And then I guess another thing too, I'll be looking out for Julius Randle. Um, and, that's the team that sent Denver home. So I'm kind of wanting to see what Denver's approach is going to be. They've had some struggles. No one is really talking about them. So I'm kind of wondering how they're going to approach the game, and then of course, Minnesota wants to show everyone, hey, we're the new top dog. We already sent them home. Um, you know, we were able to send them home without, Randall. So I can see Randall kind of getting out there early and often, getting some buckets. So I kind of like his first half PRA for Randall. Like I said, he wasn't there when they sent them home, but I still think he's going to have an opportunity to shine. Being the difference, and I mean he's going to play differently than how they played with Cat. Cat can be real passive on the perimeter. The whole time. That's not going to be Randall. So they're going to have to. Their defensive game is going to have to be a little bit different in terms of how they're going to approach the game from Denver side. So kind of anxious to see how that's gonna pan out.
How many blocks is Chet going to get tonight?
Blocks. I say 3 blocks, 2 steals.
I was just
Three
looking at
blocks,
it.
two steals.
The Blazers are 25th in the league in turnovers with 16.2 a game. The Thunder are second in the league with only 10.5, but they're first with 13.8 steals per game. Seems like steals and blocks should be all over the place for the Thunder tonight. I know, like I said, the other night they had 18, and then 2 games ago, I think they had Caruso, Shea, and Chet all had 5 total steals and blocks, 5 or more total steals and blocks in that same game. So it's like I said, man, watching them the other night, watching Caruso for the first time in person on Wemby, hands in every passing lane, on every move the offensive player makes, he's there. Dort's there. Cason Wallace is there. Dove is there. A friend of mine that I went to the game with, we were talking about it. Shea led the league in steals last year with 3 steals a game, and he may be the 6th best defender on the team.
Yeah. Hey, because I do remember a stretch when he was getting like a lot of steals. Like I do remember that, and it's one of those things too, because typically it does count to the defense. I think a lot of people get so caught up into the stats. You could be an awesome defender, but you just don't get a lot of blocks or steals. Like the best defender on you all's team, I'm pretty sure is not going to get the most blocks or steals.
I would say if you're especially perimeter defender, if you're talking Dort, so far he's averaging 0.8 steals and 0.8 blocks per game, and he's probably the best on-ball defender.
Yep.
And it's not like he's not getting any minutes because he's getting almost 27 minutes a game. It's when his defense on the person causes the bad pass that Shea picks off, and takes down the court for a layup, or Caruso is the same way as Dort. It's Chet gets all the steals, all the blocks. Shea gets the steals and the blocks. Shea's averaging 2.5 and 1.5 right now, steals and blocks at 6'6". So I mean he's and Chet's averaging 1.5 steals and 3.5 blocks. So Dort and Caruso and Case and Wallace are causing these bad passes that they're not really getting credit for the steals, but if there was an assist to a steal, they'd be leading the league, I feel like.
Correct. And another interesting way of looking at it, and it kind of brings me back to the bro man statement that Draymond made. Everyone knows that those Chet and Wemby matchups are a big deal. So you look at the Thunder, a team that, they have great camaraderie, you can see it. So, they're looking at it like, okay, big dog, we're going to make sure that you get this win against Wemby. We're going to apply hands. We're going to get out there. We're going to make his life a living hell because you're our guy and we want you to get this win. Because it was a total team effort. So, those things, like that matter when, players want to see different, when there's different storylines within the game. Man, people know what's going on. People know how big those matchups are in the locker room, even if they're downplayed to the media. So, I'm pretty sure it was an emphasis that, hey, we're going to make sure that we dominate this game and that we're going to dominate Wemby to the point that our guy's going to get this win for this matchup.
Wemby played 27 minutes of the night and shot the ball 5 times.
And it's not just that. He wasn't impactful at all. I think how many rebounds did he have? What, 5 or 6? 8. Yeah, 8 rebounds. The tallest guy on the court.
He shot 5 times and 3 of them were threes. He shot 2 2-point shots.
That's crazy.
He went to the free throw line for 4 free throws. He went 4 for 4 from the lines. Only reason he got 6 points.
Yeah.
And like I said, there was times when Caruso and Dort and all these guys were on him, and I know he's not strong by any means, but at 7'3" and as long as he is, he should be able to post anybody up and get to the block at some point and just drop the ball in the goal.
Oh yeah. And even if they are playing it that way, you just have to make an emphasis of, hey, we got to give him some easy looks. We're going to have to do something, if they're playing him a certain type of way, like, Pop and CP3, they just should have put him in better position to be somewhat effective. I mean, taking that many shots,
it's almost unacceptable at that point.
That's what I'm saying. So I kind of thought, it's a lot of things wrong with that. I mean, if you go 5 for 22, all right, but for you to not even get that many shots up, you got to be better. You got to be better than that.
Well, man, that's Lakers up 21.
Thomas. I saw that Boston had kind of. It looked like it was a little close. It's a 4-point game.
Yeah.
It's high scoring though.
Oh man. Yeah, Cam Thomas gonna get you tonight. He had 19 and 3 right now.
Yeah. It's always that one. It's always that one, man. Evan Mobley is going to give it too. I took his under, and man, looked like I should have took Jared Allen under with that. But yeah, hey, it's always that one, man. And I'm definitely anxious. I know we didn't talk about him a whole lot, considering how long that Orlando is going to be without their guy. Just kind of anxious to see what impact it has on their team. Right now, they're 3-2. I expect them to lose this game, so they're probably about to be 500. Haven't looked at their schedule, but that's someone that they're a 4th seed team now. I mean, without him, you can, for the length of time that he's likely going to be out, I mean, they can find themselves in the 9th seed very quickly. Very quickly.
Started a 4-game road trip today without Paolo. At Cleveland, at Dallas, at Oklahoma City, and at Indiana.
Yeah, like they could easily be 4 losses. They lost. They're losing this game. They lost their last game, so they could easily lose 6 games back to back.
And even when they go back home, it's against New Orleans, so it's not like it's the easiest game in the world either. So they could take a couple more L's right there. They hit a nice
And
little stretch where you got the Wizards and Hornets and Indiana again, Philly. If Embiid and Paul George don't play, then that's winnable. If they do, I don't think it's winnable. They got a chance where they could fall off real hard in the next 6 weeks.
yeah, that's true, man. Hey, you have Nick Richards?
I do.
He done for the game.
All right. For anybody watching, me and Nate are playing each other in fantasy this week, and I'm just trying to salvage some points because he is about to beat me to death or beat me to whatever you can say online.
Hey, he scored 1 point.
That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, I got Nick Richards scoring 1 point, and Wendell Carter I added today because Paulo was out and he was a late scratch. So yeah, my week's done for. I'm just trying to get points so I don't fall too far.
I mean, Austin Reeves headed to the locker room, man. I hope he get back out on that court.
No surprise. Guess who's got him? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. That's why I mentioned that. I think he has an ankle issue. I know he's headed to the locker room, so hopefully they get him back out there though.
Yeah, I hope Austin Reeves gets back out there. Not just for fantasy, just because I like him, watching him when he was here. And he was a fun guy to watch. He was pretty intense.
Yeah, I like him, man. It does a little bit of everything: playmaking, can rebound, can score. He makes right plays. Really doesn't do anything that he just makes the smart basketball plays. So
Yep.
I like seeing him play too.
All right, man. Well, we'll get back at it in a couple days and try to get more than one per weekend. Life has been life in this week, and it's been
For
tough
sure.
catching up. But we'll probably try to get back together in a couple days and see what happens over the weekend, and we'll get at it then.
Okay. All right, man.
Peace out. I'll at you.
Peace. All right.